What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Stravos, and that intro just sounds so weird. I just wanted to pick something that was completely opposite of my personality because I still have no idea how to intro my videos, and I thought I'd just make fun of myself a bit. But what I want to talk about is how to prepare for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, or at least what I'm going to be doing. But what I want to talk about very quickly before that is why I'm actually a reputable source for information. Now, I play Call of Duty just as much as any other YouTuber, if not more, and I'm looking at it right now. My time played for Ghosts is 31.5 days, where in Black Ops 2 I totaled like almost 50. I just happen not to like this game, Ghosts, as much, but I don't necessarily pub stomp like a lot of the other YouTubers. I tend to go a more completionist route and try to do every possible thing there is to do in a game. So instead of trying to up the ante and go for higher and higher scores, I tend to play solo a lot and go for all the little intricacies and just learn about the game and be very mathematical about it. That isn't to say that I don't get high scores, because I actually do very often. I just don't happen to actually go for them. It's just not a priority for me, but it might start being so in Advanced Warfare because I tend to like a lot of the games that provide a very high skill gap, and that way I will actually go for high scoring gameplays. It's just that Ghosts, it doesn't really feel that way. It feels like more of a game that I want to just explore and try to learn more about if I even am going to spend a whole bunch of time playing the game. Okay, enough about me. Let's move on to the first way that you can prepare for Advanced Warfare. The first thing that I've come up with is sensitivity for a lot of people is going to need to change. Now, I don't know if it'll be like a 10-point system or whatever it is, but in Ghosts, there is definitely a way to prepare for it. Now, there's going to be a lot of ways to jump around and just evade bullets in Advanced Warfare, and because of that, if you're playing on a sensitivity that's really low, like a lot of competitive players do, then you might need to bring it up. But if you're playing on a high sensitivity, like a lot of pub stompers do, you might actually have to bring it down because you might have to stay more accurate during the gunfight so that you can hit all your bullets before the other person does. It's going to be much more finely tuned to where your sensitivity needs to be in Advanced Warfare. So again, if you're playing on a low sensitivity, you might need to raise it because people are going to be dodging really fast and you're going to need to get on target faster. And if you're on a high sensitivity, you might need to lower it because when people move around that fast, there's going to be so many different pinpoint areas to get your accuracy to that if you're playing on a high sensitivity, you might not be able to stay accurate long enough to actually kill them faster. So, to be exact, from what I've seen of Advanced Warfare, it looks like what it equates to in sensitivity on Ghosts is probably about a minimum of 5 sensitivity. And this is like the minimum, because you're going to need all the vertical sensitivity to be fast enough to aim up to all the vertical situations that you're going to be in. So there's tons of buildings, tons of areas the maps are created for verticality, and you're going to need to aim up fast enough. And I believe that 5 is probably the minimum that you're going to need to be able to aim vertically. There can't really be a maximum sensitivity for this because obviously the only limitation is if you're too slow, but you do need to be aware of what your limits are to staying accurate. So just keep that in mind while testing and make sure you're at about a 5 for a minimum, which is going to be a lot harder for you competitive players like myself, but lately that's what I've been doing, and it seems to be actually working very well for me. I've been trying control freaks a lot more recently. Usually I've stayed away from them, but they seem to be helping a lot with the higher sensitivities. Maybe you want to even experiment with them yourself, but I know that they've been helping me, and it seems like I'm going to try a lot more control freaks. I've already ordered some more for that reason, but for the most part, yeah, you're going to need about a 5 minimum. The second thing to be aware of for Advanced Warfare is all the new movement and exo abilities. So, how to prepare for this in Ghosts is be ready, even though it's not going to happen, but be ready for someone to dash to the side, or jump really high, or be very careful of very vertically situational places. So like if there's a window really high above you, like be especially ready for it, even if you don't know if someone's there or not. And you could also watch out for people being cloaked, so just paying attention to the finer details of what you can see. Even though no one will actually be cloaked, you could just at least try to mentally prepare yourself for the future. And the third thing to prepare for, and probably the most important thing to prepare for Advanced Warfare, is what perks you're using in Ghosts. So what I mean is, like, a lot of people know, and if you don't know, I'll tell you right now, that Dead Silence is not going to be returning in Advanced Warfare, which is kind of devastating actually for competitive. Not so much in public matches, but competitive is gonna be so changed because of this, and I'm really interested in figuring out how that'll turn out. There is a possibility that the developers add it last minute, but we can't just hope for that. So how to prepare for it? Remove dead silence from your classes. Get used to people hearing you all the time. And consequently, also, feel free to use Amplify, because other people are not going to be able to have dead silence in Advanced Warfare, so if you have Amplify, then you can hear everybody. Obviously, there are a few things weird about that, hearing footsteps louder than you might be able to hear, but at least you'll hear every footstep, and that's the most important part of this. Another thing you can do is stay away from Specialist and Support, because they're not really going to be in Advanced Warfare. You can kind of argue to some extent that Specialist is in by choosing what things you want on your class, taking away kill streaks and putting on more perks and stuff, but you don't actually earn it over time, so you might want to stay away from it. Obviously you can still use it to prepare, but don't focus on it too much. And also, a lot of the guns feel like they reload pretty slowly in Advanced Warfare, so making sure that you don't at least have it as your initial perks. If you do use Specialist, for instance, I'm looking at one of my classes for it, at least earn Sleight of Hand later than you normally would. Try to get it later on so that you don't get used to reloading super fast, because it seems like a lot of the guns in Advanced Warfare reload pretty slowly. And that's about all the time I have, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something especially. And because I don't have an outro, I'm just gonna leave this video with some awkward silence. Goodbye.